Alright everybody, what's going on? I got a quick video for you today. I'm going to make it as quick as possible anyway because I spent all day yesterday out in the sun and my almost entire upper body is covered in sunburn, which with my gear on in the heat of the day, it's probably about 3,000 degrees right now. So I'm not going to make this last any longer than it absolutely has to. So let's go. The Sena 20s, first thing I noticed when I pulled it out of the box was that it was a little bit lighter than I expected, but it was also a little bit, I guess, thicker. The way they were talking about it, it seemed like it was this ultra thin, piece, but it's not a whole lot bigger than I was expecting it to be, but I was expecting something a little bit smaller, I guess. It feels kind of, like I said, it feels really light, and the plastic feels a little bit soft, so I'm expecting this to dent and scratch fairly easily over time, but nothing that's going to impair the actual function of the unit. Now, let's talk about function of the unit. As a lot of people who have gotten theirs know, it's been a little glitchy to start with, and I, for one, am not too upset. I know some people are extremely pissed off. It doesn't bother me as much. I know Sena had pushed back the release of this quite a bit, and a lot of people, including myself, were getting extremely pissed off that they said they'd have this out in February, and it's June. Well, it's July now, but people didn't start getting them till late June. So I'm glad they went ahead and they pushed the product out. I'd rather have something in my hands, something that I can get some use out of, and just correct those little bugs along the way, versus to sit around with, nothing. And I've already, like I said, I already paid for mine back in February, so for 4 months, they had my money and I had nothing to show for it. So I was glad that they sent them out, and I have no real issues with them as far as having the bugs. With anything that is like a first release or a first for its kind, it's going to have glitches. I guess coming from the IT world, when an operating system first comes out, it's nothing but trouble. So it was the same way with the 20s. It's the first one that I know of with 4.0, Bluetooth 4.0. So it took a lot of programming on their part, which is really the only area that's really lacking right now is the software, the programming of the unit. But that's going to be fixed with firmware updates over time, so it's really nothing long term that's going to stand against this unit. Physically, there were a couple issues I had with it. The antenna really is worthless. When you pop the antenna up, it makes absolutely no difference on your radio reception, which is kind of shit. There's local channels that I listen to all the time, like my favorite channel. It doesn't get picked up at all. It's nothing but static on this unit. I've never had any other radio, car radio, stereo, like house radio, boombox, anything, not be able to pick up this channel. So this is the only radio I know that cannot pick up this channel. So that was a major downfall for me, that I cannot listen to my favorite radio station with this 20s. However, it does sync up to your phone, so you can play music through your phone, and that works very well. The audio quality for the music is fairly good. It's not the best. It could use a little more bass note, but if you give it a little more bass note, that's going to affect your intercom quality, because when you're talking from person to person, you don't want a whole lot of bass note. You like that treble a little bit more. So it's a trade-off, one or the other, and they went with the voice sound quality, which is going to be the product's main selling point. Is you're trying to talk to other people, so you want to be able to hear people talking better than listening to the radio. However, I've done more listening to the radio so far. I've seen a couple people complain that once they pair up with non-20s head units, or non-20s units, like an SMH10, they're constantly like becoming unpaired or dropping out, something like that. The range is crap. It's not staying connected, basically, was what it all boiled down to. I've not had any trouble with that personally so far, but that's definitely an issue. One big issue I have had so far is the battery life. It's claimed to be 13 hours, and I've gotten nowhere near that. I had my unit on the charger all night, and took it to work the next morning. 15-minute drive to work for 8 hours, and then a 15-minute ride home. And when I got home, me and the missus decided we were going to go for a little ride, try them out. They came paired out of the box. However, when you do the firmware update, they're no longer paired, so we had to repair them, and the only way to get them paired was to use the app on my phone. I tried everything listed in the book to get them paired together. None of it worked except for using the app. So that was a little upsetting. But back to the battery life. Yeah, it was 15 minutes, 8 hours, 15 minutes, so 8.5 hours. And they was only on for 30 minutes of that 8.5 hours, and the battery was dead. I mean, no sooner than I'd gotten home to turn around and leave, the battery was dead. So that was very upsetting also. If it can't hold a charge like when it's turned off, I can't imagine that it's going to last any longer being turned on. On the other hand, I've seen other people say they took theirs out and it lasted for a 16-hour ride, being turned on the entire time. I'm not sure if there's any legitimacy to that statement, but that's what they say, so that's what they say. I know I haven't got that for sure. Let's see, what else can I say about it? Ever since the last update, I've had a lot of issues with the voice prompts. For example, I'll say FM radio and I'll have to say it 15, 20 times because every time I say it, it thinks I'm saying previous, which to me sounds nothing alike. But that's up to me. I mean, that's my opinion. Maybe it's... What the hell is that? Maybe it's, I don't know. What's that? Accents. Maybe its accent is a little different than mine. Who knows? Anyway. So battery power, radio sucks. It does not work with my GP10, despite whatever they say on their Facebook page. I told them it wasn't working. They said, well, call tech support because we know for a fact it works. And I said, okay. So I called tech support, and tech support says we know for a fact it doesn't work, and they're working on fixing it in the next firmware release. It should be able to work with the GP10 the correct way. So, yeah, like I said, it's full of glitches, and this road is fucking horrible. All these lines you see going across the road are a big ass bump. I should have picked something better to ride on. It does pick up a little, or it does cause a little wind noise mounted on the side of the helmet. That's why I was thinking it was a little more slimmer and it would cause a little less drag, but although it is noticeable, it's not really bad. It's not gonna distract you at all, I don't think. Let's see, the jog dial, they claim is super easy to use, and so far it's been super easy to use as far as turning volume up and down. Anything else, it's been a complete pain in the ass. I tried to set my radio stations, the presets, using the jog dial. Impossible. Not possible. So I went ahead and I used the app to set those. At the time, the device manager had not been updated yet, so it wasn't an option to set them on the device manager. However, you can do that now. You can go in and adjust all your settings on, well, most of your settings on the device manager on your computer instead of doing it through the app, because I know Windows phones do not have an app for the 20s. iPhone or Apple just released theirs, or approved it, I guess a couple days ago. So if you have an iPhone, you can go ahead and download that now. It it's been out for Android for quite some time, so anyone who has Android could have downloaded it any time in the past, 2 weeks or so. Alright, what else can I say? The double tap to activate your voice commands, or whatever you want to call it. Ever since the last update, they made it settings so you could adjust the sensitivity of that, and ever since they've done that, mine has not worked properly. I have it on the highest sensitivity it can be, and it works maybe 2 out of 7 taps, or 2 out of 7 attempts it works. Before it had only not worked once, and now it almost never works. So, once again, another something that was a little bit upsetting. But the main point is that they're working on fixing it all. This is not anything that is like a physical downside to the unit. Anything that's software-wise can be fixed. I'm not real familiar with this road, so I'm taking it a little bit slower and paying a little more attention. For those of you who are having trouble upgrading your firmware, or you haven't got your device yet, you're going to need to upgrade it as soon as you get it. The new device manager from Sena, you have to open it up, or install it, open it up. You'll plug in your 20s, make sure your power is turned off, turn the power on, turn the power off, and then click next. Any other Sena device, you just plug it in and turn it on and click next. Well, the 20s, for some reason, is different. You make sure it's turned off, plug it in through a USB cable, turn the unit on, turn the unit back off, and then click next. And that's the only way it is going to work. A lot of people, for some reason, couldn't comprehend that, even though it says right on the manager, like right on the thing, it says turn off your 20s. Right after step 2, I think, or step 3, apparently no one was able to read to figure that out. It does seem to charge fairly fast, which I might have a bad battery in mine. Maybe that's why my battery in particular is fairly shitty, because it does charge really quick. I would expect it to take like 2 or 3 hours to charge, but it seems to charge up in like an hour, and then it's dead in half the time it's supposed to be. I wasn't sure I wanted to do this review while writing because I knew I was going to forget a lot of things, and I'm sure I have, because I can't think of anything else. Price-wise, if you've not bought one of these units yet, it's pretty much going to be one of the most expensive things out there, right after, or a little bit more, I believe, than the Cardo G9X. It's probably the only thing comparable to the 20s is the G9X also. They're the top of the lines from their respective companies, and I think that the 20s might be a little bit better in the long run once they get all the bugs fixed, all the glitches. That reminds me, another glitch that they had was the GPS. The unit was not functioning with Bluetooth compatible GPS units. However, the last upgrade, the last firmware update should have fixed that. So like I said, it's just a matter of getting all the little bugs worked out. And once they do, and they get all the little details down into the software, it should be a great thing, a great product. I think it's kind of funny how unforgiving I was when they were running late on the release, and now it's out and it's not working properly. You'd think I'd be extremely pissed off, but as someone who understands how these things work, it seems like no big deal to me. And other people who are more laxed about it being so far behind on the deadline are freaking out because it's late and it's not working properly. Which I can understand that pisses you off, but I don't know. I think, like I said, it's just my background, I guess, and knowing what a pain in the ass software can be, and you know, one wrong letter in a script of code somewhere can keep the whole unit from working. I'm just glad to have something on the side of my helmet. Me and the missus can talk. I can listen to the radio when I'm not with her. And after they get the firmware updated so that it works with the GP10, I'll be using the 20s to record my future vlogs with. And I'm looking forward to that. I'm hoping that it's a great improvement of sound quality, as it should be. Now, I've heard a rumor that the 20s is supposed to be able to use UHD mode with multiple units. So if you're dual vlogging with two 20s headsets, you would be able to use the ultra high def mode for a dual vlog, which would be the first time that's been a possibility, but I'm not sure if that's even anywhere in the plans. I believe it's just a rumor at this point. I haven't heard anything from Sena in regards to it, or anything from anyone, what's the word I'm looking for? Reputable. So I think that would be an awesome thing to do, is to update the firmware for the GP10 and the 20s, so that would be a possibility. But until then, I'll be happy just to get it working. If you have already ordered your unit, your 20s, I recommend getting on YouTube. Well, you're here. Step 1 complete. Go to Sena's page on YouTube and watch their instructional videos, how to install. It's really not hard. And voice commands and all that fun stuff. And get familiar with it before you get it. That way when it shows up, all you got to do is throw it on the charger for a little bit, toss it on your helmet, and you're ready to go. You already know how it functions, you know how to use it. And even if you've already got it, it doesn't hurt to watch the video, see what all the commands are. You can always say, what can I say? And it'll tell you what are the available commands. Free scrap. It's all wood. And this ride turned out to be a little bit longer than I was expecting it to. So, I'm not going to do a how-to video on how everything works, because Sena's already got videos out, and they're going to be able to tell you more than I am, better than I am, and they won't leave things out, because I'm almost certain to leave things out. So if you got any questions about the 20s, feel free to ask, and if I don't know, I'll try and find out for you. And I'll catch you guys later.